Okay, I think these three pieces are going to go fairly quick. We have the pin driver, um, and I think I already did the naming, so let's go over to the File Explorer and go into my assembly or assignment 5, and I created a pin driver, so that must have been the pin slider. You want to be careful renaming. I could do it at this point because it isn't tied to the assembly or the drawing, but the safer method is going to be to right click, go to the SolidWorks and do a rename out of its utility. So it's going to find where this is used, and if we haven't gotten virtual components, but if there was tied to any virtual components, it would update there. So anything that was available would be in this list, and it should update those items. So the slider rod or the rod slider, and then the arm driver or just arm. So again, whatever makes sense on your naming, since they didn't give it to us, we'll go ahead and do the flyout. So let's start with that arm. And the arm is going to be kind of in a top plane orientation when it gets to the assembly. So this one I will put it in the top plane, and then front plane and top plane in the drawing. That still kind of works, so not a big deal. Under the sketch, we have a straight slot, which produces an op round. If we come over to the sketch entities, then we have a center point straight slot, which is a selection underneath our little pull down arrow up in the command manager. And then the S key and the little pull down arrow with the description, straight slot, center point, arcs, and center point arc. So if I do a center point straight and drag out the center line, then I'm going to be able to drag a diameter. So in one tool, I've pretty much generated all of that geometry. So we have a radius of 5. Right, so it inferred the relations for me. 170. And then we need the 2 holes on the end. So we will, let's just do the S key on this one, go into the circle, and draw the first one, place it, make sure to click so it places it, and then right click to select the perimeter, control select the perimeter of the circles, make them equal, and then this will end up with a 5mm diameter. We're going to extrude this out, so I'll try to be consistent. Extrude boss base off of the right mouse button in context menu, and go ahead and save this as the arm. Okay, we can close that out. The pin, I don't really need to do that as a revolve or anything. It's 8mm by 170mm long. So going into the assembly, it would be convenient if I drew that on the right plane. Go into the S key, place it, right click dimension, 8mm, and then right click, extrude boss base. I'm going to stay with the mid plane on this, so 170mm, and accept and save. So pretty simple geometry. We're not getting too fancy with these items. And saved it and closed it. And then we'll scroll down a little bit. Oh, there is the pin short, so I could possibly do a save as. Save as and open, but I think we're probably just as easily go ahead and generate that geometry with a new part millimeter. I'll put it in the top plane this time. S key, circle, right click, dimension, pick the perimeter, 5 millimeters. All right, so I'm intentionally kind of going fast here. That want you to get into that workflow, find that rhythm of knowing where these items are. So get into kind of get into that habit of picking your process, and then whether we go up to the command manager or I right click on the context and apply these extrudes is just kind of whatever is convenient. So the pen, and then the last part metric, we'll fly the drawing back in. All right, so we've got the different diameters, but as soon as I see these cylindrical parts, center line, and we can do this outside shape and produce a revolve. All right, so front plane, sketch. Well, might as well go with the L key since I'm being pretty consistent. Vertical for construction, infinite length, place it on the origin, right click, select. Back into the L key. And I've been doing the click drag, so just by contrast, the click click. And the click click has the advantage and the disadvantage of it's going to continue on into that next line. It's not really asking you where to pick. And then since I know when I revolve this, it's going to ask me to close it. I want to see that region. Then I'll go ahead and place it. The thing with the one I have to remember for having that line is that when I place my diameters, I want to be on the center line, not the object line. All right, so our dimensions, and these should stay in diameter. So we've got that one pretty big. It is, let's see, which one is that fitting into? We have, well, they dimensioned to a hidden line, which is kind of a no-no, but 8. And a 10 to the outside, double checking as I go, and 5 millimeter on the small side. Hit escape. Escape once puts me in just the regular linear dimension, and I can put 5 millimeters, 5 millimeters, and if this shrank or overran, then I would just grab one of those endpoints and reposition before I applied the dimension. 10 millimeters. A couple little scroll wheel zooms or F on the keyboard will zoom to fit. Right click, well, the boss extrude isn't going to help me here. The S key, let's see, do we have something else? No. So I'm just going to hit escape this time, which is the same as right clicking and select. If I go to the S key, there's nothing really there, so that might be something I would want to add. The other thing I could do is if I go ahead and accept that sketch and hit the S key, now I'm out, and I'm going to have to pick that sketch, but it gives me access to those features, to that feature list. Well, and since it was still selected, apparently it found it. Worst case, I would do the flyout and pick sketch 1, or pick on the sketch geometry in the work area if it wasn't able to find it. So revolve, and then this one was the pin driver. So place it, pin driver, and I got the naming okay there, so we will save, and we're ready to start assembling.